Having understood knapsack problem, let's trace knapsack problem with respect to this example. Remember, this satisfies both optimal substructure property and overlapping subproblems. Let's see how to compute optimum value for this example. Okay. So to start with, we will have opt of, there are 4 objects and max capacity is 5, and we move left, and to the left we take this subproblem opt of, we don't include the object. For your reference, let me write x4 equals 0, and on the other side we write x4 equals 1. So this becomes 3 comma, capacity remains the same. On this side we are including the object, so we will be working with remaining objects 1, 2, 3, and having included this, the weight will be modified, which will be 3. So this is basically 5 minus 2. If we include this, then we get some profit. That profit is given by this, so we get 50 plus this. Then we go to the next level. So the next level, let me say x3 equals 0, which means x3 is not included. When I say x3 equals 1, x3 is included. So this becomes opt of 2 comma 5, and on this side this becomes opt of 2 comma, and we are including x3, its weight we have to subtract, so this becomes 4. So this is 5 minus 1. And if we include this, we get some profit. The profit is 20, which is given over here. Correct? And so on the other side, we will have this subproblem. This subproblem is over here x3 equals 0 and x3 equals 1, which means opt of 2 comma 3, and whatever profit we have so far, that will come here. So on the other side, we will have opt of, we are including the object, so it becomes 2 comma, and we are including x3, weight of x3 is 1, so this becomes 2. So this is 3 minus 1. So we already have a profit of 50, and with that we are adding this profit, so we get 70 over here. Fine. So next level, if you go down, then we check x2 equals 0 and x2 equals 1, and so this will be opt of 1 comma 5, and this will be opt of 1 comma, we are including second object, its weight will be subtracted, so this is 5 minus 1. So if x2 is included, we get some profit. What is that? That profit is 10, so we get 10 plus something. So similarly, this side, if you see, this becomes opt of 1 comma 4, and this one is x2 equals 0. So whatever profit we have before, same thing will come over here. On the other side, we will have opt of 1 comma, we are including second object, correct? So which means that will be subtracted, so we get 1 comma 3, and if we include the second object, profit is 10, so 20 plus 10, 30. Fine. So this is what we have on the other side. Let's look at this problem. This one, it becomes opt of again x2 equals 0, x2 equals 1. This becomes opt of 1 comma 3, and this becomes opt of 1 comma, we are including x2, so this becomes 1 comma 2. And if we include x2 profit is 10, we already have 50, so this becomes 60. On this side it is 50. So if you look at these two sub-problems, so again x2 equals 0, x2 equals 1. Now this will be opt of 1 comma 2, and profit earned is 70, and over here it is opt of 1 comma, we are including x2, so it becomes 1 comma 1. We already have a profit of 70, we are including x2, so we get a profit of 80. Fine. So now you can see that opt of 1 comma 2 is appearing here, opt of 1 comma 2 is appearing here, opt of 1 comma 3 is here, 1 comma 3 is here, 1 comma 4 is here, 1 comma 4 is here. So there is a clear overlapping subproblems. So we compute once and then reuse the solution. Okay. So let's compute this part. If we compute 1 comma 2, now what do we get? X1 equals 0 and x1 equals 1. This says do not include x1, so which means this becomes 0 comma 2, and when we say 0 comma 2, so this will be 70 plus opt of 0 comma 2, and when we say 0 comma 2, which means we have exhausted all the objects. It says do not consider any objects, so the value of this one is 0. So for this one, return value will be 70, and for that matter opt of 0 comma x will be 0, and x could be anything. Fine. And so this says you include x1. So if we include x1, we get a profit of so much. So we will have 70 plus this. But remember, if we include x1, we will get profit of 100, but we are exceeding the capacity, because if we want to include x1, we need so much, we need at least 3, but we know that only this much is available, correct? So which means x1 cannot be considered. So this one is same as opt of 0 comma 2. So opt of 1 comma 2 is same as opt of 0 comma 2. Because we have seen as part of recursive subproblem, if wi is greater than w, then opt of I comma w is precisely opt of I minus 1 comma w. If the weight of the ith object under consideration is more than what is left here, then we are going to work with the subproblem where that object will not be considered, ith object will not be considered. So that's precisely this. So which means profit earned out of this is 70. Is that okay? Now opt of 1 comma 1. Opt of 1 comma 1, again we know the capacity of the first one, capacity left is 1 and the weight of the first object is 3. So which means opt of 1 comma 1 is same as opt of 0 comma 1. So which means the value returned by this will be 80. So from this one we get 80, from this one we get 70, from this one also we get 70. Or put it in other words, opt of 1 comma 2, this is what we get. And just now we observed opt of 1 comma 2 is same as opt of 0 comma 2. So the value returned from this problem, this 1 will be 60. Now let's focus on 1 comma 3. On one side it will be 50 plus opt of 0 comma 3, and on the other side 50 plus 30 plus 30 is we can include this object, then it will be opt of 0 comma 3. So which means profit earned out of this problem is also 80. And opt of 1 comma 3, it says you include this, so which means value returned from this will also be 60. One branch will tell you 0 comma 3, another branch will tell you 30 plus 30, 60. And this branch, one branch will tell you 0 comma 4, another branch will tell you include this, so we will get 50. Fine. And this one 1 comma 4, we can include this. One branch will tell you 0 comma 4, another branch will tell you include x1, so we get this. This branch, one branch will tell you 0 comma 5, another branch will tell you include the first one, so we get a profit of 30. Fine. So we clearly see there are overlapping subproblems, and now if you look at this recursion tree, this clearly tells you all possible solutions available, all possible feasible solutions. When I say feasible, solution in which the total weight, right, that will not exceed the capacity of the bag. And of all that, we see that this one is 80, this one is 80, this is considered to be maximum. Let's look at that branch. So this branch is maximum. So what is this telling us? It says include x4, include x3, include x2. So if you include these, weight will be 4, which is less than this, and the profit earned is 80. So this is one solution. Another solution is here. So what it says is you include x4, okay, and then you come this side. This says do not include x3. Fine. And then we come over here. This says do not include x2. Then we come over here. In this case, we include this. So what this says is include x4 and include x1. Do not include x2. Do not include x3. So I include this, and weight will be 5. Yes, and profit earned is 80. That is another solution. And all other solutions are less than or equal to opt. In this case, we have two optimum solutions. Either we can return x1 and x4, or we can return x2, x3, x4. So this clearly tells you how recursive subproblem is helping us in computing optimum solution, and we also see the overlapping subproblems are occurring. So if we compute once, we can reuse the solution. Now we will map this to the tabular method, and with that one can estimate what would be the complexity and size of this recursion tree. Okay. Now look at it this way. At the first level, we get two subproblems. Supposing you are employing simple recursive solution to compute this. Yes, it is computing. Let's assume you are computing this branch, you are computing this branch, each of them without taking overlapping subproblem into account. Then what is the size of this recursion tree? So what is that we want? Size of this recursion tree. So once we estimate size of this recursion tree, we will get to know how many subproblems are there. If there are exponential number of subproblems, then the underlying brute force algorithm or simple recursive solution will take exponential n. So at this level we say you exclude, include. Next level you come, you say exclude, include, exclude, exclude. So you look at all possible values for x3. Further down you look at this. So something like 2 subproblems, 2 square or 4 subproblems, then 2 cube or 8 subproblems, then 2 power 4 or 16 subproblems. So like that the problem size is growing. Correct? Now this branch will tell you one possible feasible solution. This one will tell you another feasible solution. This one will tell you third one. So like that each branch will tell you one feasible solution. Now you can look at it this way. At the first level we are looking at possible values for x4. With that we are looking at possible values for x3. So like that we are seeing for each of them. Exclude, include, exclude, include and so on. So each one has got 2 possibilities. Correct? So if there are n variables, then there will be 2 power n combinations. So this will give you one combination, this will give you another combination. So there will be 2 power n possibilities if there are n variables. Or put it in other words, how many different binary strings are there of length n? There are 2 power n. Or how many different subsets are there of size n? That is also 2 power n. And this binary string says 1 1 1 1 everywhere. This binary string says 1 1 1 followed by say 0. So and it corresponds to appropriate subset. If you see 1, you include that element. If you see 0, you exclude that element. So number of possible feasible solutions is how much? Number of different binary strings of length n or number of different subsets, which is 2 power n. So which means simple recursive solution or size of this recursion tree is at least 2 power n. So 2 power 0, 2 power 1 like that it goes. Last level you will have 2 power n, and we can also say it is theta of 2 power n. Fine. So which means simple recursive solution not exploiting overlapping subproblem incurs exponential time. Fine. And now suppose this recomputation is avoided, then we are saving something, and is that effort is the whatever we are saving, does that help us to bring this complexity to polynomial in n? That's an interesting question which we shall see next. So please note we have taken the underlying recursive subproblem and looked at all possible feasible solutions and estimated the size of the recursion tree, and it will give you all possible solutions and all possible feasible solutions. In that some of them are optimum, and supposing we follow recursive subproblem for each of them, then we see that the size of this recursion tree is exponential in n. Fine. And now can we improve this if you bring overlapping subproblem? That's our next question.